Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie, and for today's video, I'm going to be doing something that is actually inspired by one of my favorite creators on TikTok. Her name is Bree. Her username on there is Bree Hearts Horror. Highly recommend checking her out, but she does something over there every Tuesday called Tragic Girl Tuesdays, which is where she goes through and highlights some kind of almost final girls that you were maybe hoping would make it to the end of their horror film and didn't. And I was very much inspired by her to make my own list of some of my favorite almost final girls, which is what is going to be the title of this video. So this is just a couple of ones that I picked out from some lists and that are just my personal favorite. So if there's anybody that I forgot, left out, that you think that I should have included, definitely make sure to leave a comment including them below. I can always, you know, do another list or react to your guys's. So this is just kind of my first initial list. So we are going to be going in somewhat of an order with these characters. There's definitely an order to my favorites on this one for sure. So to start out the list at number 7, yeah, we're going with kind of an odd number here, but it's going to be Paige from House of Wax. This is obviously the early 2000s. Some people do refer to it as a remake. I don't necessarily agree or disagree with that, but this is Paris Hilton's character in the film. Obviously, at the time that this film came out, Paris was pretty much everywhere and not loved by a lot of people. So for a lot of people, they probably expected her to make it to the end of this film, and her death was intentional, very much like another character on this list. Paris Hilton herself has said that she wanted to die in this film, that she felt like a lot of people would enjoy seeing her be killed off. She wasn't wrong. I personally love Paris Hilton. I loved The Simple Life, and I just think that she is a phenomenal human being who does a lot of really great work with her platform and the money that she has. But I can't say that I didn't also slightly feel that way. I don't seem like the stereotypical person that would be into Paris Hilton. And I was a teenage girl growing up when her and a lot of these other celebrities were, female celebrities were plastered all over the place, and I can't say that I didn't fall for some of the hate back then. So I probably, when this film came out, was in that same boat of like being okay with Paris Hilton dying. But now, as an adult and loving her and rewatching the movie, she's definitely a character that I would have been happy with making it to the end, but her death, especially for the time, makes sense. But she is a character that is meant to be, love, hate, very much like Paris tends to be. So she is my first pick for this list. My second pick, coming in at number 6, is going to be Jenna from the Friday the 13th remake. This is obviously the 2009 version. She is a character and kind of one of the first characters on this list that I feel like is made to feel like she's gonna make it to the end of the film. She is a character that we're very much kind of tricked into feeling like she is going to be a final girl in this film. So when she inevitably dies, makes it that much more tragic, as I feel like Brie would put it. And so that is why she has made it onto this list. I definitely think that she is a character that in maybe any other horror film would have made it to the end, but tragically does not. Number 5, and I think one of the most standout, think that they're gonna make it to the end of the film people on this list, is gonna be Barb from Black Christmas. Her death, I feel like, was one that was, at least the first time I watched this film, shocking. She is a very heavy focus in this film. I feel like she is one of our main characters throughout this. We have a lot of heavy focus on what's going on in her life, and for her to not make it through the film is just immensely tragic. I'm gonna keep using that word. I maybe should have titled this Tragedy Girls, but she is a character that you're really rooting for throughout this film. I mean, it is a film that for its time was very progressive. I mean, it talks about a lot of subjects that films were maybe too scared to talk about. I mean, abortion for one thing, that's still a hot topic today. It's still something we're arguing about all the time. And you know, sexual freedom, and you know, she is not scared to shy away from these topics, which of course is like the type of character that always gets killed off, the kind of sexual freedom character in a film. But we really are like kind of feeling through watching Black Christmas that maybe it'll take a twist and she can make it, and unfortunately she doesn't, which just makes it, again, even more of a bummer because she's such a badass, phenomenal character throughout this film. Number 4, and probably one of the earlier twists on this idea in a film, where you really are not expecting this character to be killed off, and that is Marion Crane from Psycho. This is a film that I have reviewed. A lot of these I actually have, so I will link them if I have, but I remember watching this one. I think I actually watched this one for the first time for my 101 days. Now, obviously going into this film for the first time, I already knew this is a film that has been around for obviously a very long time. It is a iconic horror film, and that shower scene is well known. So, you know, it is a film that is unfortunately like that twist was ruined for me the first time that I saw it. I already knew that it was coming, but even with that fact, watching the build up to that moment and wondering when it was gonna happen, because we do follow this character from the start of the film and it takes a while for her death to come. And so I am sure for anybody who got to see that film for the first time, not have that ruined, that was probably like a phenomenal moment. You know, you see those memes where it's like the thing where it's like the doctor's like, "I'm sorry, you've lost your memory," and it's people like rewatching some of their favorite things. I think this would be one of the movies on the list of like films that I would watch if I had lost my memory. Good idea for a video. But yeah, I think that her death is, again, one of those very early on films with such a twist to it. And obviously, like, Psycho in general is just a film that's like twist after twist after twist. But when you do open up with following a character like her throughout the entire film, and then she's whacked, it is a shock. And it's one of those characters where you're expecting that this is a slasher film, that you are gonna have a final girl to follow, and you don't, which I think is another interesting thing in Psycho, because a lot of these movies that I have mentioned so far or will be mentioning have a final girl of some sort, and Psycho may be the only one on this list that doesn't. Moving on to number 3, and some people will argue that this character is meant to die from the get-go. She is your kind of stereotypical character that's killed off. It's kind of similar to Barb, but I love her so much, and obviously it's Sarah Michelle Gellar, so duh. Helen from I Know What You Did Last Summer. I love her character. Again, another one of those characters that you're kind of meant love to hate a little bit. She is kind of best friend to Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, but she is, you know, kind of the bratty girl in school, but she's really not that horrible, I feel like, compared to some of the other blondes in horror film. It always seems to be like the blonde versus the brunette almost, and her character is just another example of that, but she makes it pretty far into this film, to be honest. Like, there are a lot of those blonde characters in horror films that are killed off much earlier on, but she makes it pretty good into this film. It definitely feels like she could make it to the end. I mean, I didn't include her on this list. I know that she is on some other ones, but Brandy's character in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, I didn't include her on this list because I believe her character survives, and so I just didn't include her with this one, but Helen, you know, she's a character that could have easily made it to the end alongside Jennifer Love Hewitt's Julie. Could have rid this film out together, but she had to be killed. And I think a part of that is the fact that it's Sarah Michelle Gellar, you know, Buffy. Are you really gonna kill her off? Yes, they did. But that's what makes her character and her kills so great. So moving on to number 2, and this one's, again, you could argue that she is kind of a final girl if you're only focused on one film from the franchise, and that's Clear Rivers from Final Destination 2. So I did warn, there are spoilers in this video, so you know, if you've only seen the first Final Destination and you see Claire live, and then to be devastatingly taken from us in the second film, you know, she makes her way all the way through the first one. And I know I see a lot of discourse about this in the fandom, that a lot of people hate on Kimberly for bringing Claire out of the psych ward and getting her killed, but Claire is an independent badass and she wouldn't have come out of there if she didn't want to. I do not blame Kimberly for that one. That's also probably in part because I love AJ Cook, but this is about our almost final girls. But I definitely do love Claire, and I think it would have been great to see her continue through the franchise and make it all the way through, but that's not what the Final Destination films are. We don't really, aside from the knowledge that we get that Kimberly is still alive, we don't really get a final girl in these films. I mean, for the most part, I think Kimberly is really the only character that has survived the franchise, which, kind of a spoiler if you hadn't seen the most recent Final Destination, that information is made, that she does survive, but really nobody else in this franchise does, and so obviously Claire couldn't live forever. She had to be taken out by death, but it makes it that much, again, there's that word tragic, that she made it for so long. She, you know, found a way. She wasn't really living life, but she found a way to survive, and ends up getting taken out. I'm not a huge fan of her death, which be like a whole nother separate thing. I think that as far as kind of main character killed off, hers is a little weak, but you know, she does sacrifice herself for the cause, and that just is sad. So number 1 on our list, of course, at probably no surprise to anybody, is gonna be Tatum from Scream. I obviously love her. Her character is obviously one that, again, you could argue that she is the stereotypical killed off friend in a horror film, and she is. I mean, she's loud and vulgar and sexual and not, you know, scared to be. She's very opposite of Sydney in that way, and obviously that is a character that in slasher films is gonna be killed. And obviously with Scream we have kind of the twist of the fact that Sydney has sex, and you know, they even joke that, oh, because of that now she has to die, and she doesn't. But Tatum does not get that luxury. And while yes, Tatum is kind of your stereotypical character that's supposed to be killed off, doesn't mean that I don't want her to survive, doesn't mean that I love her any less and wouldn't have loved to see her make her way through. Now, you could argue that instead of Tatum in this place, that it should be Casey Becker, which is why I'm making her kind of more of an honorable mention, just because that feels a little bit too obvious. I mean, for those who don't know, I'm sure most of you watching this do, her character, Drew Barrymore, who plays Casey Becker, our opening kill in the Scream franchise, she was plastered all over this movie. They used her to promote the shit out of this movie back in the 90s. It's Drew Barrymore in this new Wes Craven film. Like, oh my goodness, she, you know, is all over the posters. she is our opening part of the film. You really do expect her to be the final girl because, again, it's Drew Barrymore, and they kill her off, which is, again, she very much kind of like Paris Hilton wanted to be killed off in House of Wax. She wanted to be killed off in this film. She kind of helped come up with the idea. She thought that it would make a heavier impact on the film, and she was not wrong. And I do love that for her, but making her number one just kind of felt like too much of an obvious choice. So I put Tatum there because, again, I love her, and even though she is, again, a character that's meant to be killed off, I still love her, and I still always want her to survive, and Tatum deserved better. So there you guys go. That is my list, at least as of for now, of my favorite almost final girls. So let me know what you guys thought of this list. Is there anybody that I didn't mention that you feel like I should have? Let me know that in the comments below, and I hope that you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for more spooky and horror related content, and I will see you all again later with another video. Bye.